Again, my name is Brooke Lambert. I'm the CAO with the Township of Wellington North, and I just want to thank you for your attendance today at the Mayor's Breakfast. My understanding is this is not the first Mayor's Breakfast that we've done here in Wellington North, but it's a first in the last several years. So we're very glad to be bringing this back. And I do want to give a special thanks to the County of Wellington, Scott and your team, for helping us put this event on. This is a great opportunity for us to share what's happening in the township and answer questions and just have a chance to get together and visit with each other. So I also want to give a special thanks to Linda Saunders and her crew for the wonderful breakfast, and I have been told that there is plenty there. So if you want to take a moment before the presentation starts, please help yourself and get seconds. We want to make sure the food gets eaten today. So we do have a packed agenda for you today. I'd also like to invite Matthew Ray up to say a few words.
Morning, everyone. Also, will be very brief because you all came here to hear Andy and not myself. Just want to thank Andy and all of council. I know many councillors are here this morning as well for all their great work they do locally. It makes my job easier at Queen's Park, advocating for Arthur, Mount Forest, and Kenilworth and the communities Wellington North at Queen's Park because of the great partnerships that we have locally with Mayor Lennox and the entirety of Wellington North Council. I know a lot of great things and exciting things are happening in this part of the world, and so looking forward to hearing some of those updates as well. It's great to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to invite Mayor Lennox up to do his presentation.
So good morning, everybody. Great to see you this morning. I think I've got the sleep cleared from my eyes. Wonderful to be here this morning, and I'd like to thank staff for putting this event together. I'd also like to acknowledge some members of council. I saw two of them come in. I saw Penny Rankin. Where'd you go, Penny? She's at the back there. And Steve McCabe. There he is. Steve, welcome. So this morning, we really wanted to talk about updating you in terms of what's happening in Wellington North, but really thought that perhaps we should talk about the elephant in the room, at least a little bit. So I think all of you are feeling the same things that I'm feeling, is the uncertainty, the upending of our economic order is underway due to our neighbors south of the border. And while we at the municipality don't have a lot of influence over what happens in that regard, just wanted to send the message to you that as business people, we will be there to try to support you however we can, and make sure that we try to find the best path forward in this tumultuous time together. So I thought maybe I'd make a comment. I don't know whether it'll go over well or not, but we're in a lot of uncertainty. I think we all recognize that uncertainty like we've never seen before. Anyways, with that, I'll move on to my presentation. So I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of things with regard to tariff and trade support. So there are federal supports being unfurled, I should say, and we can connect you with those through our colleagues at the federal government. There's some local startup and entrepreneurial support that we can provide in our partnership. County of Wellington is certainly supporting this as well, and we're collaborating locally and across the county to be able to do that. We have some different employment resources available, mental health resources, and of course something that's on the minds of lots of people is shopping local and supporting local businesses and Canadian businesses. So this is not an exhaustive list, and we're figuring this out as we go along, just like everybody else. But wanted to let you know that we'd like to try to provide as much support as we can in those areas to ease the transition. Okay, with that being said, first thing we want to talk about is our 2024 strategic plan. So we've been working on a number of initiatives since the last term of council began, trying to plan for what the future of Wellington North is. And the first step in that process really was developing our strategic plan. And our strategic plan really was went through an exhaustive process where we tried to consult with the public and come up with a community vision and figure out what it is we need to do to continue to make this community a great place to live, work, and play. We're at a fairly significant state of change compared to previous years in terms of the amount of community growth that we've had. And so our plans really are geared towards trying to adapt to that change and make sure that the community continues to be a place where people want to live. So, yeah, we did a fair amount of work in terms of communicating with the public. We did some workshops, surveys, and open houses. And really our plan focuses on modernization, efficiency, partnerships, municipal infrastructure, and then of course trying to align and integrate all those things together to make a coherent plan. The plan is designed to carry us through till 2026 or beyond. And yes, it is a plan, and I forget who coined the phrase about a plan is, and it really was referring to military plans. Plan is great until you first contact the enemy. This plan is created with in mind being flexible and being able to adapt to the changing circumstances, but it also helps us focus on what the important things are that we need to be looking after as time goes forward. So we're prepared to be flexible, but we do have a plan that we believe will help us move things in the direction we believe we need to go. So what is that plan? Well, it really comes down to 3 strategic priorities. So shaping and supporting sustainable growth, delivering quality and efficient community services aligned with the township's mandate and our capacity to deliver those, and then enhance information sharing and participation in decision making. So this is part of that process today, is to try to share some information with you folks and open up the dialogue so that we can continue to shape the future of Wellington North. So let's dig a little deeper. In terms of shaping and supporting sustainable growth, some of the initiatives we've taken is to first look at a growth management action plan, which has been adopted relatively recently by council. And it's really to guide our development and as our community grows, to look after things like what infrastructure we need and try to do it as efficiently and sustainably as possible. We will spend some more time on the growth management plan in the future, but part of this managing growth also is continuing to maintain what we do have already. So in terms of what we have in terms of roads, bridges, and other facilities type of infrastructure to continue our community to grow, move ahead steadily, but also accommodating growth. So it's part of the same process. And along with that, we've done a asset management plan, which really focuses on those existing assets, those roads and bridges. And if you, and I'll spend a bit more detailed time on that in the future here, but in order to, basically, we've calculated, in order to continue to maintain our things like roads, bridges, facilities, all those assets that we rely on for delivering services every day, we should be spending about $18 million a year in 2023 dollars to maintain them. We've been, and I'll come to some of this a little later as well, we've committed $8 million this year, which is an exceptionally high capital budget to do that. So you can see that there's a $10 million gap on an annual basis. That $10 million gap is significant. It's real. We're not going to fix it overnight. We didn't get to this stage in a year. We're not going to fix it in a year. Our total tax revenue for the township is under the $10 million. So we'd have to double property taxes to address that issue alone. So clearly that's not a sustainable solution. We need to rely on our provincial and federal counterparts to assist us in some of this as we try to gradually work our way out from under that gap. So what's next? We're working on some things like attainable housing partnerships, looking at different strategies to fund the infrastructure. So we're going to need to spend significant infrastructure money on being able to expand things like the what we've been working on and still haven't secured funding for is the Arthur wastewater treatment plant upgrades. There's additional work needed to secure more water supply and storage in Arthur as well, which is underway. And all of these things cost a significant amount of dollars, so we're trying to work on a strategy to be able to fund those things. We need to continue down the asset management planning of trying to continue to chip away at that deficit. We're conducting a municipal facility review. And of course, all this time, we also need to make sure that we're looking after not only those big ticket items we talked about, but make sure all the other servicing pieces fit together so that we can continue to service growth as it arrives in our community. We can't focus only on growth, we got to also deliver those services that people rely on every day. So one of the ways we do that is investigating partnerships. We've pioneered a partnership with the town of Minto a number of years ago with regard to sharing our fire management team. That partnership has grown and now extends into Mapleton Township as well. So with 3 northern Wellington communities are working together on a shared fire management. We still all have our own fire departments, but we're sharing the people and resources across all 3 to better deliver services, to share opportunities. A great example, a physical example of that would be that, for instance, as our buildings get larger, some people will express concern about our lack of an aerial fire truck. Minto has one, and we can work with them to make sure that that's available to help support our communities as well. So this is a way that working together really has a very tangible benefit. We have access to a greater variety of services that we can draw on to serve our community. So we also are working to partner with local businesses and other sponsorship opportunities to make things work even more efficiently over time. Another example of our partnerships is something called Saugeen Connects, and many of you may not be familiar with that. That's an economic development type of partnership where we're working with a bigger variety of municipalities, and I can't remember all the ones that are involved, but it's not only in Wellington County, but it spans into Grey County as well. And that's been a very, very valuable collaboration for us. Other things that have been completed through the strategic plan, we've leveraged over $125,000 of grants, such as Canada Summer Jobs, to be able to deliver more services. Not sure how many people here have young children in the room, but one of the big successes we've had with that, or that's really been a success for the community, is our day camps. Not very many years ago, we didn't have any day camps in Wellington North, and now we're having 3 locations, multiple sessions, and they sell out almost immediately. And one of the reasons we're able to deliver that services is through programs like the Canada Summer Jobs and collaborating with community groups. Recently, we also finalized a 15-year lease with the Arthur Optimist Club to take over the old town hall or the drill shed, or Senior Citizens Hall, whichever name you wish to use, because it's been around a long time. That building started out in a very different use, but the optimists are imagining a new and continued use for that building, and we're grateful for their collaboration on that. So what's next? Really, it's what we're working on in the short term is new community signage, more work in terms of our service level planning as our community grows. Of course, the everyday services that we provide has to grow along with it, and so we're trying to plan for that, to do that in a very deliberate and measured way so that we manage our costs, maintain our sustainability and cost efficiency. We're working on a trail master plan, and council meetings are going to be supported by some new software this year. And the Mount Forest Community Center, or the old arena, we're looking at trying to figure out what's the best use of that facility going forward. So there's open houses coming up. If people wish to participate in what that vision looks like. Of course, we're continuing to work on the Mount Forest Outdoor Aquatics Center, or the pool, to replace the old pool in Mount Forest that we had to close. And that fundraising is very active and continuing, and the corporate donors at this point will open up to broader fundraising later on, but right now it's focusing on that corporate fundraising, and we've been pretty successful with some major donations from community businesses that we're incredibly grateful for. There's some renovations happening here in the Arthur Community Center in the upstairs hall that will better accommodate the Historical Society and make some upgrades to that room for other purposes as well. The old Arthur Municipal Office is going to undergo some renovations. We just approved the tender for that just earlier this week. And we're also looking towards a transportation master plan, which will look at all forms of transportation across our community and how we look after things like maintaining safety for all road users, sidewalk users, and so on, which may include things like some traffic calming measures. You may have noticed we've had an installation of a couple of crosswalks, one in Arthur, one in Mount Forest. There's more to come, and those are just examples of things that we're doing to try to enhance safety, calm traffic. As our community grows, as communities around us grow, we're seeing traffic grow too, so we're going to have to do more work on that. We're also working on trying to do better with more information sharing and participation in decision-making projects. We did modify our John Street reconstruction project, which is due to be done this year, to better accommodate some concerns raised by the community. So by trying to do more collaboration, consultation, we're actually getting what we believe are better results. Continuing to try to use social media. Well, I'm not a social media expert. I know that a lot of people rely on it very heavily, and it's something that we're working to try to enhance sharing information over social media. If you're really interested in seeing what happens at a council meeting, they're all posted on YouTube. You're welcome to come and see them anytime. They're available live and recorded, so that if you want to see how the sausage is made, you can see that. We've created a new community feedback policy, so you don't have to tell me about the problem and hope that it gets to somebody who can fix it. We have a feedback process that anybody can use to register their questions, concerns, complaints, and staff will attend to it, and we've set some timelines around responses, which is trying to make it very open and transparent about how we're dealing with concerns raised by community members and keep track of those and make sure they're taken care of. And it would be remiss if I didn't mention here in Wellington County and Wellington North, we're continue to be blessed with news reporting, media, traditional type media, newspapers, radio, and today we have Whiteman with us recording this, and thanks, Adam, for being here to do that. You're incredibly important partners for us in terms of trying to share information with the public, and we're very grateful to have such good coverage in our community. Many communities do not enjoy that, and it provides an incredibly important link between government and the public. So thanks, and a shout out to all those that are supporting us in that way. What else are we working on? We're continuing with more stakeholder discussions about community and futures. I alluded to it earlier. That's really what the purpose of today is to try to share information, continue the dialogue, and make sure that we're addressing the things that are important to you. Look out for more opportunities to do that in the future, and certainly we're going to be working on that today and many days in the future. And now I'd like to switch gears a little bit and talk about our growth management action plan. So this has come out of our strategic plan. This is one of the major exercises that we've done coming out of that. We just completed within the last few months, and Council has approved that in August. And really what we're talking about is trying to manage that growth in as efficient and effective way as possible, and making sure that one of my favorite sayings about this is that I want growth in our community to be an evolution, not a revolution. So that we're doing it in a measured way, and we continue to maintain all the benefits that we've come to enjoy in our community today. So trying to make sure we have complete communities where we have growth or places to live, places to work, and places to play that continue to make this an attractive community to live in. So a growth management action plan took in a number of things, and that printing on the screen may be too small to read, and I'm not going to read them all off. Nobody wants to hear me do that. But if you are interested in more detail on this, we will have the slides from today available, and we're happy to discuss that with you. But really what we were talking about with the growth management action plan is trying to look broadly at our community, at what does growth mean, not just in terms of the number of houses, but what does it mean to our community? How do we manage that growth in a way that continues to make our community a place that we all want to continue to live? I know that myself and some other members of council have expressed concern about the way they've seen growth unfold in other communities where it's been very disruptive, and certainly that's not what we want to have. We want to continue to make this place continue to be the place that we valued when we moved here, or whether we grew up here or not. So through this growth management action plan, it looks at a longer term vision, which to develop and guide our local growth and plan where that growth is going to occur, how it should happen, how it should unfold, how we can service that growth. All of that is important, and the province assigns growth numbers to the county in turn divvies them out across the county, and in collaboration with us locally in terms of the growth that we believe we can service and support, we come up with these forecasts, and so that's the basis of which we use to plan that growth. I know when I started on council, we saw growth forecasts, and I think we all thought that they were crazy because we hadn't seen the kind of growth that was in those plans. They usually were significant amounts of growth, and we were getting fairly modest, and what I would call modest and incremental growth across Wellington North. But in the last few years, I think that reality has been turned on its head. We've seen growth come fast and furious, and so the reality is that those forecasts are very real. We believe them to be real. We believe the growth is coming. We believe that people are wanting to invest in our community, and so we need to get prepared for it. And that's really what this is focused on. Along with that, of course, there's services that we deliver. We need to figure out how we're going to deliver those services. In the most effective way. And of course, there's going to be further studies needed. to make sure that we have that complete community. Not just the places to live, but the places to live your life, work, play, and enjoy your time here in Wellington North. Shorter term, we're working on things like, again, working on increasing stakeholder conversations. During this time of change, it's even more important that we continue the dialogue with the residents and those of us trying to put these plans together. We're trying to share the vision of One Wellington North. We're a community that's created out of others. We believe that we have a lot in common, so we're working towards trying to make it as unified as possible. We're also trying to monitor growth and development trends, looking at things like people, jobs, households, what types of housing we need. I see our CEO from the hospital here, what kind of places we need to attract healthcare workers to our community to continue to make things like hospitals viable and continue to be here to support us. All of these things are considerations as we're planning for growth in the future to try to continue to make this a wonderful community. We need to, staff were helping me with some notes here, and one of the comments was making sure we have protect lands for employment and agricultural lands. But I guess I'd like to take a little different tack on that, in that I believe that agricultural lands are employment lands in Wellington North too. It's our most important industry, and protecting the future of it is also important to us as well. So, in that process, of course, we have to figure out how we're going to pay for that infrastructure to support that growth. And one of the ways that we currently do that is through development charges. Ideally, we want new growth in our community to pay for itself and not be the burden on the existing taxpayers. So that's the tool that we have currently. It will need some updating in the coming days. So we've seen a great deal of change in terms of the cost of building infrastructure. So we're going to need to figure out how we're going to capture some of that going forward. We're trying also to figure out how to change our organization as we get more people. Of course, we have to provide more services. It requires sometimes more people to do that, and trying to figure out how we do that is on the top of our mind as well. We're also working hard on the capital infrastructure to make sure we're ready to be able to accommodate that growth. We're planning for greenfield areas and trying to look at what do we need. It's not just houses that we need. We need industrial, commercial land as well, so that as the community grows, those services that people rely on can grow as well. We're working also on trying to benchmark our service delivery to make sure that we're doing it in the best manner possible. We're looking at communities that are a little larger than ours as a comparison, because we're growing, and trying to work towards a budget process that takes into multi-year considerations. That's probably going to be a challenge for this year, given that the planning horizon is about 15 minutes instead of multiple years, given the uncertainty that we're facing. Comprehensive capital infrastructure planning is absolutely critical as we move forward. So with all that planning in the background, we came up to a 2025 budget, which you may have some interest in. It was approved by Council in December and really is focused on the things that we were talking about, looking at trying to find a way to continue to deliver the services we rely on every day, make provisions for the future, and plan how we're going to do it. So one of the things that we'd like to talk about is that even though Wellington North collects all the property tax, not all of it stays here for us to work with. Only about 37% of it stays here. For every dollar that's submitted in property taxes, about 37 cents stays with Wellington North to deliver the services that we deliver. Things like roads, which is our biggest budget item, fire service, recreation activities, and water and wastewater, which is funded separately, but we are also responsible for that work as well. County of Wellington, for the other municipal services, takes a chunk of it, and then of course some of it goes to the provincial government to support education. Where do the dollars that we collect, where do they get allocated to? As you can see at the graph here, roads expenditures make up a big chunk of that. And I'm sure many of you were grateful for the dollars we spend on maintaining roads this winter, as it has been a challenging year to make sure that the roads were accessible. And I would like to shout out to our staff for doing such an incredible job of maintaining our roads during a rather difficult winter period. But that's not the only thing we do, of course, with roads. Of course, there's ongoing maintenance and so on, but to me, it's just very timely right now how important that winter maintenance piece is, so that we can get around in our sidewalks and roads. Fire makes up about 8.5%, recreation about 16%, economic development and some other related activities about 7.5%, and then administration and some various other small pieces make up the balance. So this year's capital budget is about almost $13 million. A little bit of that going to community and economic development, but the big chunk of it, of course, capital dollars goes to roads and road infrastructure type maintenance at over $8 million. Some of it for buildings and protective services, but you can see that the roads, one of the reasons the roads budget makes up such a big proportion of the taxes we collect is because of what we have to spend on infrastructure renewal. I alluded to that earlier through the asset management plan, that we should be spending about $18 million on this type of thing, and we're spending about $8.5 million with about a $10 million gap. So we've got work to do. Just some of the projects for 2025. Anyway, just some highlights from infrastructure projects. In terms of asphalt renewal program, we're looking to spend about $1.5 million on rural roads for that. Thank you, Mike. Places including Line 8 from County Road 14 to County Road 16, and Side Road 5 West from Concession 9 to 11. And then in urban pavement renewal, about $331,000, including places like Perth Street, Prince Charles Street, both in Coakley Street in Mount Forest, and Arthur Street here Andrew Street here in Arthur. Too many A's there. Some other construction projects in terms of servicing new growth. We've included the construction of Draper Street and Anderson Avenue in Arthur. If you're not familiar with where those are, they are east of Eliza Street and a branch off of Eliza Street, between here and the sewage lagoons. So those have been on the survey for quite some time. They will be constructed to allow some residential development to proceed in that area. John Street reconstruction, which we talked about a little bit earlier in Mount Forest, that's a major project. A little bit of work to be done on Industrial Drive in Mount Forest, just because as that industrial park is finished being built out. Just bringing the streetscape up to speed. And then in Mount Forest, the major project, of course, is resurfacing Main Street. Seems like quite a few years ago, but sometimes seems like yesterday. We did the big dig in Mount Forest, and the street was completely redone with new pavement, but it's time to renew that pavement again already. And we're very grateful to provincial government partners in helping us do that through the Connecting Link program. They provide a significant amount of dollars to make that possible. So, some other projects, rural road rebuild, we do try to do a little bit every year. Side Road 13 is the one on the list for this year. There's a culvert replacement on Wells Street East, culvert replacement on Side Road 25. That's on the boundary road with Center Wellington, so that's a shared project. A new pedestrian crossover at Queen Street and Parkside Drive in Mount Forest. And we're working on, there's more of those to come. And basic structure improvements, so bridge and culvert improvements. And the dam underneath the bridge in Mount Forest needs a bit of work in terms of safety improvements and working with the Conservation Authority, helping us identify those things. We're working on that this year as well. That's the work for this year, but we got to also plan for what's coming ahead. So there's also some engineering and design work for renewal projects, include things like Durham Street East, Newfoundland Street in Mount Forest, both of those in Mount Forest. The storm trunk drain for Main Street, the Main Smith Street one in Arthur needs some design work, and future replacements of structure 21, which is on Side Road 8 East. So that's a bridge that's had a load restriction on it for some time. So we're planning for what needs to be done to replace that structure. And of course, as a routine part of our business, every 2 years we have to do a bridge inspection to make sure that all the bridges continue to remain safe and identify any maintenance work that needs to be done on them. That's planned for this year as well. Also, we'll be working on things related to the Arthur water supply and water storage, a new well house design, water tower design, looking at doing an urban traffic impact study, and a water and sewer rate study. So that's kind of a rundown of the things that we're most actively working on. Like I said earlier, I just wanted to have this opportunity to share some of that with you and keep the dialogue open. And with that, happy to take any questions. If I can't answer them, I'm sure there's somebody here that will support me in answering them as well. So thank you all for joining us this morning, and I'm happy to take any questions. Bill, I see you have your hand up already.
Proportionate to the base, the users and generously
Thank you, Bill. I think that any consideration like that we will certainly take seriously, and we recognize the depth of the problem that you have outlined for sure. In terms of the process, I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that, but we'll figure that part of it out. Other questions? Comments? Anybody? Jim?
Any updates on the wastewater plant for Arthur, timing-wise, scheduling-wise?
About the only update I can provide is that we have all the design and everything's ready to go. The financing is the big piece that we're struggling with. We've looked for financing from our provincial partners on 2 occasions and not been successful so far. Staff are actually looking to bring back a potential funding strategy or financing strategy for us. I'm not sure how that's going to look right now, because for us to just go borrow the money, we don't have based on the limits that the province places on us, we don't have the capacity to borrow that amount of money to carry that out ourselves. So we may be needing to look at other alternatives to try to be able to finance that project and get it moving forward. So stay tuned. We're trying to figure it out, despite the fact that we're looking for some provincial support and we're not successful. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead. So I'm not sure everybody heard the question. I think the question really is about, in terms of the wastewater treatment plant, have we considered, or are we considering, correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus, as I try to paraphrase the question, but have we considered working with the developers, local developers, to help finance that project and get it moving forward? Have I captured it? And the answer to that question is, right now we're trying to look at all options. That probably will be part of the consideration. Where that lands, I'm not sure right now, as staff are working on trying to pull different options together for council to consider. Yeah, go ahead, Walter.
Mr. Mayor, just considering the events of last week we saw with the ice storms down, how prepared are we to deal with the emergency in Wellington North? Is there something that happens here?
That's a great question. I generally think we're pretty prepared. We do have a robust emergency preparedness planning. Things like weather can be somewhat unpredictable, and it's hard to prepare for every possibility, but we do try very hard to identify the risks that we believe are part of what our community is. I mean, for instance, flooding is not generally one that we consider as a major risk in our community. It can happen, but it's a lower risk than lots of other places. Things like tornadoes, ice storms, snowstorms are the things that we spend more time planning for, because we know that they're more likely to occur here. And definitely ice storm is one of those identified hazards that we try to work towards addressing through our emergency management program, and trying to conduct regular exercises and reviews to make sure we're prepared. Sometimes Mother Nature throws things at us that we aren't prepared for, but we do try to be prepared. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
How far along are we in funding for the Mount Forest Aquatic Center? Like, of the, what was it, $6 million budget? How far along is the funding at this point?
I don't have the up-to-date numbers. We did have a major recent announcement of a $500,000 contribution from TD Smith, which is a huge step in the right direction of our local fundraising goal of $2.5 million. We've had a number of other commitments as well, which I think has got us somewhere close to $1 million already. I don't have the exact number at my disposal, but I know that the fundraising committee are continuing to work hard on particularly the corporate side, because that's where we've been successful in getting some major dollars. It's Mount Forest Lions Club, the Mount Forest Legion are some of the other major donors as well, and I want to give recognition for everybody, but I probably don't have the whole list in my head. But yeah, we're making progress. It's not maybe as fast as we'd like, but it's we're getting there. Any other questions? Don't be shy. If there's no other questions, I would also say that staff and council members will be around for a little while here. We're happy to chat one-on-one as well. So with that, I will wrap up this morning. Did you have anything further? You got to wrap up, Brooke? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. And
Thank you so much, Mayor Lennox. That was an excellent presentation, and I think as you've heard, there's so much happening here in Wellington North. It's a really exciting place to be. It's such a great opportunity this morning to see so many of you here from the community, our business community, our residents, our partners at the county, and our staff. So I do want to just thank everyone for you taking the time today to be with us this morning. As Mr. Lennox here, Mayor Lennox mentioned, Whiteman's is also here. They've been recording the presentation and it will be available after today. We can also make copies available to anyone who'd like them. Just reach out to us. So in closing, I just want to let you know that the centerpieces on the table were provided by County Creations in Mount Forest, and we'd like to make those available for a lucky person at your table to take home. So if you have a birthday that's close to April 10th, whoever has the closest birthday, please go ahead and take that centerpiece home. And then I'd also just like to close with a special thanks to staff who made this event possible. Mandy, Mike, Robin, and the rest of the Recreation, Economic Development, and Community Development team. You did a fantastic job preparing for today. I never have to worry because they do such a good job getting all the details in place, making sure that there's the word out to our community. So thank you for that. And again, just another thanks to Linda Saunders, who catered the event. Mentioned the County of Wellington for sponsoring this event, and this will allow us to do several of these opportunities to reach out to the community, share what's happening. And then again, just thank you all for spending the morning with us. I hope you've learned something. I hope some of the information here has piqued your interest and that you'll reach out to staff. If you have any questions, we'd love to chat about all of this with you. Yeah, just enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much.